Hello everyone. So in this video we will see different examples of using max profit keyword, max profit and max loss keyword. Alright. So let's just start with the first example. So the first example is simple use of max profit and max loss. So I'll just open this strategy that we have. And let's just go to the entry condition. It's a very simple entry condition where we are saying that whenever the time is greater than 9:20, then we want to enter into a long straddle. That is basically a call option of the current week ATM, and we are also buying put option of the current week ATM. All right. So our condition was that whenever, in this case, so this is a stop loss condition and target condition, that our target was all of this is in OR operator. So whenever max profit reaches 500, then we want to exit, or if the max loss, that is the stop loss, reaches less than 500, that is the reason why we have used the negative 500 number, then we want to exit, or whenever the time is greater than 3:14 p.m. in the afternoon, then we want to exit. Alright, so this is the universal exit condition, and also we are reactivating this strategy after 2 minutes so that during the day it can take multiple counters and multiple trades even after exit. Alright, so it will start a fresh counter during the day. So in this case, let's just see, it has taken about 4 counters today in today's trade. So let's just see what has happened in each counter. So for that we will go to the notification log. So over here we will see what has happened. So at around 3:12 p.m. as we can see, the number that we have mentioned is 500, and the PNL that was reached on the higher side was 47. That was the max profit. But on the max loss side, our number was given as 500, but the max loss that was reached in this particular counter was 501, which is lesser than 500. That is our basically strategy condition, that whenever the max loss has reached lesser than minus 500, then in that case we want to exit this particular counter. So that's the reason why it exited this counter. Next, let's just see before that what happened. So over here, as we can see, our number was 500. But before that, at that time, the PNL max loss that it had reached was minus 27, which is greater than minus 500. But the profit had reached higher above 500 because it was maybe volatile. That's the reason why when it reached 568, it captured that particular amount and then exited the strategy, saying that the profit had reached more than 500. So that's how this particular formula works for a simple max profit and max loss basis. Alright, so this is how it took different counters. So initial was, first counter was minus 500, so that was less than 500. That's the reason why it exited. Next two counters was in profit, so greater than 500, and then the fourth counter was again in loss. Alright, so that's the first example. Next is the max profit example number 2. Alright, so for that, let me just open this particular strategy now. So max profit example number 2. I will open the edit condition in the next tab. So here, this is also the same strategy, as you can see, that it's the same time we want to enter into a long straddle, that is call option and the put option. Alright, and we have put a universal exit condition with a separate with a different types of max profit. So this is a different application of max profit, as you can see. So first subheading is in OR, where we put a time condition, and for second heading subheading we have put a group. Alright, so this is a group that we have created in which these both conditions need to be together. So always remember, if you're trying to trail a stop loss using max profit keyword using this particular combination, then in that case you need to put it in separate group using AND condition, because we don't want to exit just based on max profit number, but we also want to trail it using this particular keyword. So what it will do is, whenever the max profit is reaches greater than 500 number, then after that, if the PNL or the profit and loss comes to less than max profit amount, that whatever is the max profit it has reached minus 100 points, then it will exit the strategy. So for example, if it is reached 500 and from that will be the max profit, so from there if it comes down to 400, that is 100 points lower than the max profit, then it will exit. If the max profit has reached 1000 rupees, then from there if it reaches from the max profit, that is of 1000, from there if it comes down by 100 points, that is basically at 900, then it will exit the strategy at 900. So that is how this will trail the stop loss. But always remember to use these brackets also properly, this sign also properly, and then this both should be in group condition. All right. So once we have put this particular condition, let's just see how what kind of trades it takes and how it calculates the profit for this. All right. So let's just go and click on our notification log, and let's just see what kind of trades it has. So this is basically on time based exit. So we will ignore this because our time condition was true over here, 1514. That's the reason why it exited. But let's just see what has happened before that. So in the first counter, if we see at time 14:45 p.m., the max PNL that was recorded was 629. That is the highest profit it has reached. And our condition was that whenever it reaches 500 and above that, whenever it comes from the highest peak profit that it has reached, if it comes down by 100 points, then we want to exit. So that is what happened when PNL came down from 629, that was the highest max PNL. From there it came down by 100 points, that is 521, from 620 to 520. Oh, this is basically 9 points. The difference is the slippage that we can talk about, because the markets keep on moving, right? So from 620 to 520, whenever this 100-point difference was recorded from the highest peak profit point, it exited the strategy over there. All right, so that is how we can trail the stop loss in this case. All right, this is the second example. So now we will move to the third example. So this strategy, max profit example 3, is the third one. So over here we will see what kind of a condition we have for this strategy. Again, the entry condition is the same for this one as well, where at 9:20 we are basically taking this particular entry, and we are taking entry into ATM call option as well as ATM put option. All right. And over here also we have put a max profit condition, which is also in OR subset with the main subset, and this both conditions are together. So over here, as you can see, we have used one more keyword, that is the multiplier. So it's ideal to use the keyword multiplier as well, because initially when you are trading, you might start with one lots, but at a later stage, once you're profitable and if you want to increase the quantity, then you will be using different multipliers, right? Like 1x, 2x, etc. So in that case, it's better to have a keyword multiplier, because in that case, instead of calculating the PNL as 500, when you're deploying it in 2x, it will calculate the PNL as 1000 and so on. So according to that, you can you don't have to worry about mismatch in PNL. All right. So in this example, we will see that whenever max profit reaches greater than equal to number 500, then in that case, whenever the max profit minus PNL is greater than equal to 200, then it will exit the strategy. All right. So in this case, for example, if it reaches from 500, if it goes to say 800, and from 800, if it comes starts coming back, all right, by 200 points, then in that case at 600, right, it will exit the strategy, because that will be basically greater than, because we have to exit the strategy at least 200 points difference from the max profit point. All right. So basically max profit minus PNL should be greater than 200. So let's just see what happens in this kind of a setup. So we'll just go to the notification log. So this was basically the last 1514 exit, so we will ignore that, but we will see what has happened before that. So in this counter, as we can see, the max profit that was reached was 526 points, right? So whenever the PNL condition was that whenever from highest profit point, if it max PNL minus the current max profit minus current PNL should be greater than equal to 200. So over here, from 526, when it came down to say 300 rupees and it started going lesser than 300, that is when this condition was true, that 500 520, that is basically 500 520 minus 300 was basically greater than 200, right? So that is the reason why when it started coming down below that, that is the reason why it exited at this particular trailing stop loss. So similarly, if it would have reached say 800, from 800 if it would have come down to say 600, that is basically 200 points difference from the max profit point, then it would have exited at that particular level. All right, so this is the second example. So let's just see if there is more example of this. So yeah, so over here also, if you can see, so this is the max profit that was reached of 632 points. After that, when it came down by 200 points, that is 420 to 24 points, 630 to 420, that is basically almost 200 points. That is the reason why it exited over here. All right. So this is basically the third example. Now let's just go to example number 4 for max profit. All right. So over here, we'll just go to the edit section just to check the strategy. So this is also again the same example that we have, that the entry trade is the same, where we say that the call and put option should be bought at 9:20 ATM call option, and our universal exit condition was that whenever the max profit reaches, this is again in the main subset of OR, and these two are again in one group. So always remember that we have to keep this in one group. So whenever max profit reaches greater than 500, and whenever the PNL is less than equal to max profit into 80%. So in this case, we have given an example of how to use this percentage profit. So whatever is the highest max profit, whenever it starts coming down by 20% of the highest max profit, that is around 80% over here, that is when this strategy will exit. All right. So let's just see how it has performed in this particular example. So over here, we will just go to notification log. So over here, this is again the 314 exit. So we will ignore this part, but we will see the initial counter. So as you can see, at 2:45 p.m. there was initial counter. So the max profit PNL that was reached was 627.5%, right? And our PNL number was say 500. But what our exact condition was that it should be less than, it should be basically 80% of the highest peak profit. So let's just see an example over here. So let's just see 627.5, right? 627.5 into 80% is equal to this multiplied by, I will just zoom in a little bit. Let me just zoom this. Yeah. So over here, 627.5 is equal to this multiplied by 0.80 would be 502. That is 500 rupees, right? So from the highest peak profit point, when it comes down by 20%, that is, should be the 80% at least. That is the condition that we have over here, that max PNL should be less than equal to max profit into 80%, then it should exit. So that is the reason why this strategy exited at 500 rupees. All right, 500 rupees profit from the highest peak profit of 627.5. So that is the fourth example. Always remember to use this condition with proper brackets like this, and then use it. All right, max profit greater than 500 with AND condition, and then you can put this particular multiplier. All right. Also, after this, we will also see one more example of how you can record max profit and max loss for a counter. All right. So if you just want to know for any of the strategies that you might have made, you just want to know how much was the max profit or the max loss that the strategy has made for that particular counter. So in that case, what I have done is I have just created one sample formula that you can probably use, So what it does, it essentially helps to understand what kind of, in this strategy, in today's counter, what was the maximum profit that the strategy has reached and what was the maximum loss. So it just gives you an idea what kind of a risk, a standard deviation that is there for the strategy for your particular strategy. So that way you can make the changes and understand how much risk actually is there in the strategy. So if you can see, right, it's a very simple condition. So for example, I have made this multiple conditions, but main condition that I want to talk about is this max profit versus minus max loss keyword, right? So over here, what this does is, this basically only records the max profit and max loss for the entire day for that counter. So this is basically max profit minus max loss is greater than 99,000. I have just put randomly, I have just put 99,000 as the number over here, because I know that I will not be able to, on a 1x multiplier, I will not be able to cross 99,000 in intraday profit on one lot. That is the reason why what I have done is, I just want to know how much is the max profit number for my counter in the strategy and how much is the max loss number. That's the reason why I've just randomly put this brackets I have used, and I've put that this particular number. You can put this as 1 lakh, you can put this as 10 lakhs, because we don't want this number to be hit, or else it will execute the strategy based on this particular formula. But only for the recording purpose, how much is the max profit and max loss in this strategy, in this counter, that's the reason why I have put it. So that's how I can know that from here in this counter, if I go to notification log, then as you can see, even though this was the max profit was not the condition that was matched, but it tells me how much was my maximum profit during the day and how much was the maximum loss. All right, so in this case, so it helps me understand that, you know what, okay, my profitability is so much, my loss would be so much. All right, so that is the reason why I can put a proper stop loss to understand what I can do with the strategy and how to minimize my losses and maximize my profits. So that is the reason why if you use this max PNL keyword in all of your strategies, you can just put in like this, max profit minus max loss greater than 99,000 or so, as a random formula in your universal exit in any of the strategies. So it will basically help you understand how much is the max profit that the strategy has reached. At times also what happens is that what may happen is that when your PNL condition is, say, suppose 1000 rupees and the max profit may have reached 999. All right, and then the strategy may not exit and you feel that your profit and loss had actually condition had been met, but it did not exit. So in that case also it will help, because this max profit will anyway record how much is the maximum profit or the maximum loss that the strategy has reached. So whenever the universal exit happens, this log will be created. All right, that will tell you how much was the maximum profit that the strategy has reached during the day. So even when you're not watching, you will get to know that, okay, this was the maximum profit and this was the maximum loss. So that's how you can keep a track of your strategy and how it's performing during the day. All right. So yeah, I hope this video was useful, and how this is the way you can, these are total 5 examples that we discussed in which you can basically understand how to use the max profit keyword. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Bye.